If you're holding XRP, take a look at this video because with RLUSD coming up very shortly here, maybe perhaps even within a few days, there's a lot of questions about it. And specifically, the CTO of Ripple just let go a couple of beautiful words about exactly what's going to happen in terms of price that I thought I should share with you. Again, the idea here being, don't be misinformed, especially when it comes to the valuations of these things. And let's dive in. Make sure you press that like button. Let's go. So, as some of you might remember, a post was made a little bit earlier which I called bait in the sense that this really doesn't mean that much, and if it meant something, it was kind of like bad, really. Anyway, it was a post that one RLUSD had the price of 511 XRP. And again, when people checked for themselves, it was reputable, so why? Some people were asking. And I stated before, if this were to be the case, it would be temporary because it would basically just be a bid, and that the person doing it is literally stupid because he'd be given 511 XRP for one RLUSD. So he'd basically be overpaying by 100x, maybe more, I don't know. No, 1,000, I think, 1,000x. Regardless, so at Digital Assets Daily asked the question, hey, if the wallet is showing the price to be $1,200, literally overpaying by, oh wow. Anyway, $1,200 conversion to XRP. Isn't this the instant overnight price adjustment the XRP community has been waiting for? Because that would basically mean 1,200 RLUSD would be one XRP. Now, again, just looking at this, I am not sure how anybody with a brain can think that's the conversion, but no hard feelings to Digital Assets Daily here. I'm just not sure what happens in the brain to come to this conclusion. I'm not sure if he's joking or if it's just a different interpretation, but I can't see it. I think perhaps it's just a matter of, well, 511 XRP is the value of $1,200, so one RLUSD is $1,200, thus one XRP should be that, or what? But again, RLUSD is going to be stable at $1, so what's the point? Isn't this the instant overnight price adjustment the XP community has been waiting for? Will the price of XRP adjust to the value of one RLUSD, or is this a glitch until it goes live? Well, again, I can tell you it's not a glitch, it's a bid. It's somebody saying, hey, you know what? I'd be fine with paying 511 XRP for one RLUSD, or am I wrong? Well, we'll figure it out, as right here is the co-founder of XRP and the CTO at Ripple. So he gives an answer, and a lot of people have been wondering about this. So if you're thinking, Dusty, this is so easy, right? No. There's tens of thousands of people who don't get what's going on, so I have to address it. As RLUSD goes live, there may be supply shortages in the very early days before the market stabilizes. This is with almost any single currency that hits the market. The main reason being, if it's going to be offered to an exchange, there's a bid and an ask. There's a person who's offering and there's a person purchasing it. There's one offering the sale of it, one offering the purchase. Now, what most projects tend to do is get a market maker to facilitate both these sides, basically from the first seconds. The first couple of seconds, though, usually there's a little bit of a buildup depending on what price they list at, but there's a lot of differences between the decentralized and centralized way. For example, any coin can list, for example, at 1 cent, theoretically speaking, do a 100x, but if they only have a bid starting at the highest price, it never actually really registers the 1 cent thing. Why? Let's say we have a new exchange, right? The order book needs to be filled. Usually, an exchange allows the order book to be filled before the pair goes live. Let's say an hour before or so, for people, or maybe a day before, for people to put in their bids and asks. So an order book kind of gets closer and closer to one another. If we, for example, use a stablecoin, we use USDT converted into RLUSD, right? There's people who are going to want to buy, even though they're both $1, there are people who are going to want to buy your RLUSD for 1.0001. Or they want to sell it for 99.999, or the opposite way. They want to buy that at that level or sell it at that level. There's always somebody who wants to sell it quicker, and so there's always a little discrepancy there. Or maybe they don't trust the backing, there's some bad news, and the price might fluctuate a little bit based on supply and demand. Anyway, as that order book fills out, or fills up, I should say, or maybe exchanges have some different rules. There could be some shortages, or it could just be that there's so much demand for it that they're willing to pay slightly more, even though the exchange specifically doesn't have the liquidity for it because there's not enough people selling, for example. Anyway, there actually is someone in this case willing to pay $1,200 per RLUSD for a tiny fraction of one RLUSD. Tools will show you the highest price anyone is willing to pay, even if it's just for a tiny bit. Maybe someone wants the honor of buying the first bit of RUSD on the DEX. So again, what this comes down to is this person put up a bid, and since he has the highest bid, the best bid here, he's going to be the one to get filled first. Funnily enough, setting a very interesting precedent, because that on the DEX would look kind of funny if a transaction really goes live for this crazy price. But anyway, maybe just somebody wants the credits. This, however, like I just explained to you with the whole centralized exchange matter, it will be one transaction with a crazy spike, for example, and then right back down. So let's just say I want to right now sell a lot of coins. Doesn't really matter of which coin. I can sell it at the price that it's currently at, right? Sure, possibly. But if I want to sell a whole bunch, like for example with Bitcoin, I want to sell $10 billion worth of Bitcoin right now today. Why would the price then drop? Think about it. Well, because at every single level, a lot of people don't understand exactly how buying and selling works in such a market. But at any given level, there's only so much worth of orders that are ready to buy at an instant. If I, for example, put a limit and I say, hey, you know what? I want to sell for at least this price. You know, over time, people will keep filling it. They'll keep buying more and more and more of the position that I'm trying to sell it. If I want to sell it instantly, that's the difference between a limit and a market order. I can right now full stack dump my coins, but it would drop the price by a whole bunch. But it would probably look like this and bounce almost right back up, which with Bitcoin wise is basically what we saw right here, right? You can see the candle was very deep towards the downside, came right back up. That's kind of also what would happen within one transaction there. And that wouldn't be a glitch. It would just be an interesting offer / bid. Anyway, so, or ask. Anyway, but rest assured, the price will come back very close to $1. It will deviate around it though, because that's usually how stablecoins go. Most of them are not exactly at $1. They're like slightly above, slightly below. It's just market fluctuations. The backing, there's a lot of different things to explain there, but it's also quite hard to keep it at $1 exactly because there's a lot of people trying to manipulate it. It'll stay very close to $1 as soon as the supply stabilizes, which usually is what, a few minutes. If it doesn't, something is very seriously wrong. If you want to spend a lot of money to get a tiny bit of RLUSD before anyone else does, you can, but please don't expect the price to stay over $1 once things stabilize, which I expect they'll do very quickly. Once more, most likely in a few minutes, depending on how they're going to issue the token, right? There's some sort of distribution that's going to happen, and DEX liquidity has to be added. In the meantime, you know, as liquidity gets added because it's decentralized, yeah, it might might be kind of goofy, but that will take minutes. So if you want to spend a lot of money to do that, hey, go ahead and do your thing. The whole point of a stablecoin is to have it at a stable price. Short-term changes in prices due to shortages of supply or demand are certainly possible, even with USDT or USDC that happens, especially around the launch, but they shouldn't remain for very long as arbitrageurs rapidly fix the market. People realize, hey, you know what? If this USDT goes below, let's say 0.9993, they'll quickly buy it to sell for 0.9999, for example, later on, or on a different market. That's basically arbitrage, right? You buy it for somewhere at a certain price, let's say, for example, 0.9994, and then on another price, your platform, you're able to sell it for exactly $1, for example. Now, it's a very small margin, so perhaps because of fees, it's not worth it, but hey, maybe they have a deal with the exchange where their fees can be lowered, or that's literally the game that they're playing, that they're trying to battle off the fees against the price fluctuation. And it's actually something I've done in the past. So there have been multiple occasions where you could trade the USDT-USDC pair, and even now, still as it stands, you can often swap them with a tiny amount of profit possible. And I'm talking, for example, if you also deduct the fees, you can swap $100,000, for example, for perhaps $16 worth of profit. And again, it's also sometimes a liquidity thing where if you're busy with this whole day, you might make a couple $100 sometimes, but it depends on the time, depends on how turbulent things are, depends on what the order books are looking like. But obviously, it's not that profitable if you're not really good at it, mostly because these issues fix themselves quite properly, and some people spend all their time working on it with even less margins probably, but on more exchanges more rapidly, and that's why the gap here. You see, for example, if we just bought it at 0.9994, we could have made a little bit of profit here, but because of fees, it might not be worth it. But to some, it might be, or they have a bigger plan. Please don't FOMO into a stablecoin. This is not an opportunity to get rich because, again, it's going to be stable at $1. So if you're thinking, guys, should I buy RLUSD? No. You shouldn't. Why not? But it's gonna be $1. So if you are looking to switch your USDT, USDC for RLUSD, you can do that. But there's even a chance, I'm telling you right now, there's even a chance that the price goes below $1 for a little bit and you're able to scoop up yourself some cheap coins. The reason it is less likely than the opposite side is because most likely those orders will be placed more properly. And if a crazy person, sorry to call you crazy, wants to just really spend a lot of XRP to buy a lot of RL or a little bit of RLUSD, Yeah, there's a higher chance that somebody's going to do that than somebody selling their RLUSD for very cheap. Can happen, but less of a chance. Can happen, though. Now, to get back to the claim, though, Blockchain Trucker had a proper question of, can we just stabilize XRP to $1,200 and RUSD to $1? Thanks. I would like to see that, though. I would definitely like to see that. And Vet says, I believe in addition there will be, without on-chain market makers, higher spread on the XP Ledger DEX because AMM capabilities won't be available, potentially only order book. We won't get into this today. Long story short, there'll just be more volatility at the start. Higher spread just again means the difference between the price that somebody's willing to pay, price somebody's willing to offer. If we take a look at an exchange, it would basically be the difference between these two things here. And technically with the decentralized tools or platforms, it's very often different because you're using a pool system, and there's a couple more systems, but let's just say that there's some volatility to be expected once RLUSD launches. It could be a few days, it could be weeks away, we don't know. It's going to be interesting, but not the craziest of opportunities. I am mostly excited about it because it brings activity to the XP Ledger, not because I expect every single dollar on there to be worth $1,000 or so. Again, I don't know exactly where people got this idea from. If at all you are believing the screenshot because it was real, then still it would be the opposite. It would mean that either RLUSD was kind of worthless or something really overly optimistic, a $1,200 XRP. But again, I like the enthusiasm, and the reason I said no punches toward Digital Asset Daily for saying this is because he's just saying what most likely, you see 500,000 views on this. He's most likely just saying what a lot of people are thinking. This also here, 700,000 views, and people were able to copy it. So like, hey, what's going on right there? And like I always say, whenever I'm insulting people, whatever, just know it's not really personal. I'm mostly just joking around. At the end of the day, I understand everybody has to learn some way or another. So again, no 10x. And if you're asking why, people are crazy, that's actually it. Literally, somebody just wants to do this for fun. There's no good reason behind it. It's either because he wants the first transaction or because he's just having a fun day. It's just like throwing money in the air. Some people say, why would you do that? Another person says, that's pretty freaking funny. So again, if you're fearing of missing out to stablecoin, yeah, don't. It's the best answer. Imagine buying a stablecoin for $1,200. It will most likely be $1. What happened to common sense? Yeah. Anyway, no, a lot of people have to learn about these decentralized things. They don't know how they work. No worries, man. Just wanted to give everybody's expectations or get them all straight. So now you all know. It's probably coming over the next few days. If not, I kind of wonder what exactly they're waiting for, but I guess from Ripple's side, perhaps the approval went slightly quicker than anticipated, like weeks ago. So they're getting the balls rolling quick. There might also be some executional challenges, and perhaps tax-wise, they might want to wait for the start of the new year. It could be as early as, for example, January 1st. Some were saying, no, it's going to actually launch the day one of the new year, but we'll hear it from Ripple first if it does. And once more, a week or two ain't going to really make that big a difference in the grand scheme of things. It's just that I'm thinking the moment it does launch, it's going to be nice to have more capabilities on the XP Ledger, because right now, real speak, nobody that I know ever uses XRP Ledger for anything. But perhaps that could here right now change. But yeah, guys, make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed the video. See you guys again in another crypto video, hopefully somewhere later today.